What does it mean to be a man? This is something that we could discuss for the next 10, 20, 30, hundreds of years, and we all may see it through a different lens. All right, let's dive right into the center of that fire. Let's get close to the heat, and let's take a look at today's topic, which is, what does it mean to be a man? This is not an easy question to answer. I mean, so many of us grew up in a different time period. So many of us were raised in different countries, cities, towns. So we all may have a different interpretation of what it means to be a man. I mean, is being a man more like Clint Eastwood and John Wayne? Is being a man like Rambo or Terminator? Or is being a man more like Ross from Friends? Is being a man being someone who's a pleaser and a yes person? Is being a man someone who's triggered and polarized? Is being a man someone that's passive? Is it someone that's aggressive? Is it someone that holds a door for a lady? Is it someone that goes inside and keeps all the emotions buried? Is it someone that is able to show their emotions and be vulnerable? What does it mean to be a man? This is something that we could discuss for the next 10, 20, 30, hundreds of years, and we all may see it through a different lens. But one thing is for sure, is that as a man, we were sold a great lie. We were handed a map of what we were told would make us happy, what would bring us joy, what would bring us freedom, what would bring us fulfillment, and it couldn't be further from the truth, and it's done nothing but make us go right into a wall, hit a dead end. I mean, how many of you out there were told, listen, get good grades, go to a good college, get a good job, go back to grad school, get an even better job, make tons of money, get the awards, the plaques, the trophies, hit your goals, get the achievements, feel successful, find yourself a wife, a good lady, have some kids, buy a house, buy a bigger house, get a vacation house, get a winter house, go on the vacations with your family, get nicer cars, get the jewelry, do all of these things, and then finally, you're gonna feel happy. Finally, you're gonna feel free. Well, how many of those things really work for a man today? There are millionaires and there are billionaires that are taking their lives. There are men with more money than they know what to do with, that don't feel successful, that don't like who they see in the mirror. It's not uncommon, unfortunately, for a man to look in the mirror and feel something like a fraud or a fake or a phony or a liar or unworthy or unlovable or not good enough or feel isolated and alone, like I don't fit in. This, unfortunately, is all too common. So what do? I mean, we were told if I dot my I's, cross my T's, and do all these things, I'll finally be happy. And that's a big pain point for a man. You see, all these things were sourced from outside of ourselves, whether it's the wife, whether it's the kids, whether it's the job, the money, the houses. All of those things are externally sourced, and none of them built us the internal freedom, the internal fulfillment, and the internal joy. And I know this story all too well, as this was my dad's exact story. And please understand, when I share these things, there's absolutely no judgment. There's enormous empathy, enormous compassion that I have for my father and that I have for my fellow brothers, because I am no different than you. We're all walking this journey together. We have a choice. We could build each other up and together we rise, or we could try to tear each other down. So with my father, he worked his tail off. He worked his ass off. He provided an extraordinary living for his family. He gave me the best of the best, sent me to the college that I wanted to go to, bought me a car when I was 17. I had everything. And the thing is, my dad was never really able to be vulnerable. He was never really able to show his emotions. He did what his generation did. He tucked his head down, he got to work, he was in the grind, and he came home at the wee hours of the night knowing that he put in an honest day of work. And then occasionally he found himself a little bit of time, maybe to play golf, maybe to play a little bit of poker. But for the most part, he did what most men do, to wake up to the reality that everything I thought I was supposed to do didn't lead to the joy. And sadly, many men shouldering the load and feeling the enormity of pressures on them today feel like it's not enough. Let me work hard, let me provide for my family. The kids want more, your wife wants more, and then there's barely any time left over for yourself. You're the provider, you're the protector, and then where is the time for you? Where's the personal time? So it's very rare for a man to feel like he's really being successful, to feel fulfilled, to feel this sense of freedom. For my father, he was brought up in a generation where you suck it up, you don't cry. You stuff it down. Hey, don't be a wuss, don't be a sissy, don't be a crybaby, don't be a girl. And so many men in that generation, and even today, are being told the same things. And what I want to invite you guys to understand is that all of those emotions that get pushed down, that's nothing more than suppressed bound energy that lives inside of us. See, if we're told that men don't get emotional, men don't express feelings, men can't feel, well, ultimately, we also know that this is what pushes our wife away or pushes our children away, because if they can't feel us, they can't trust us. And if they can't trust us, there can't be intimacy. But when a man has no outlet to release all this emotion, and the culture has taught him that it's not okay to feel, it's not safe to feel, it's not okay to show yourself in that way, right? Where you're saying to your neighbor, how you doing today? He says good, you say good. Next thing you know, he took his life, or next thing you know, this person's going through a divorce or a health challenge, and we're constantly lying to each other. Nobody gave us a safe outlet to be able to just be vulnerable and just be honest. And so what happens for men is that they push it all down, they shoulder the load, they wear it on their back like a 10,000 pound gorilla, and next thing you know, cancer. Maybe it's a heart attack, maybe it's a stroke, maybe it's Parkinson's. And in my father's case, it manifested as dementia. Yes, I am sharing that a lot of these diseases, a lot of these pathologies are in relationship to the fact that men were not taught that it's okay to feel. It's not okay to have feelings. It's not okay to express emotions. And this bound up emotion, this bound up energy inside of us eventually implodes unless we find healthy ways to actually dissipate it, healthy ways to be with these feelings, healthy ways to be with these emotions, and ultimately use it as fuel and leverage to make change in our life, to have beautiful growth. So in my father's case, because he never was taught this, and he didn't grow up in a culture and in a generation where this was celebrated, where men grew accustomed to just lying to one another, not intentionally, but there was shame, there was guilt in trying, if you told somebody else, no, I'm not happy, no, I'm not doing okay, no, I'm not making the money that I used to make, no, the family's not going well, no, my kid's not doing well, no, my health isn't doing well, no, the marriage isn't doing well. Most men don't talk about that. So in my father's case, he buried it all, and eventually it manifested itself as dementia. And the last place in the world that he would have ever allowed himself to spend his final years was in a nursing home. In fact, he told me one day when I was younger that he would never let that happen, that he would sooner dive out the window of his 23rd floor apartment building before he ever allowed himself to go into a nursing home. And sadly, this is how it played out. My dad, with advanced dementia, I had no choice but to put him into a nursing home. Hey guys, this channel and conversation around manhood grows based upon your help and your support. Now, if you like what you're seeing and hearing, then hit that like button and subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you'll know the next episode has dropped. Thanks again for all of your support. Now let's get back to the episode. My father had one last gift that he had to offer me, and that was the sacred privilege of holding his hand for his very last breath. What an honor. I mean, as you could imagine, it was gut-wrenching. And it was also beautiful that I had that sacred privilege and honor to be with him and to hold his hand. I knew that he wasn't really going out on his terms. I knew that the face that he had on that last breath wasn't one that we all desire, wasn't one that we all cherish. That breath of freedom and triumph and victory, knowing I did it, I gave, I loved, I served with every ounce of my being. I left no rock unturned. I left it all on the field of life. Every man wants to go out that way with a giant smile. And for my dad, it wasn't that way. He didn't go out on his terms. He didn't have a culture that supported men in feeling. He wasn't handed a rule book that truly sets a man up to be successful from the inside out. We all have the rule book on how to be successful in the external world, but in the internal world, many of us don't like who we see in the mirror. And so my dad's final breath was a breath of regret rather than freedom, rather than victory. And that's something that left a scar in me. It's something that burned a deep truth inside of me. It was something that told me that if I repeat his patterns, which he repeated of his father's patterns, right? We all have generational patterns. And at some point we have to decide it ends with me. It ends with me. This pattern ends with me. And so I knew that if I lived life by the same rules, by the same principles, by the same rule book, by the same map that was handed to my father, that was handed to my grandfather, I knew inevitably I would have the same fate. And it was in that moment that I held my dad's hand for his last breath that I came to that awareness, is that it has to change. I have to live life on my terms. I have to do it differently. I have to learn from my father's mistakes and use that as a source of fuel and use that as a source of wisdom. And thus began my journey of really digging in and excavating and digging up all the buried feelings and emotions of me feeling inadequate or unworthy or not good enough or unlovable, and learning how to face and feel those feelings and ultimately use that as leverage. Leverage to transform, leverage to grow, leverage to want to be a better person. And if you were to ask me today, well, what does it mean to really be a man? I would say a man is somebody that first and foremost faces his feelings. It's someone that has the courage to unearth and to dig into and to excavate and learn how to be with everything that got stuffed down. A man is somebody that feels vital and feels alive and comes from a place of abundance and prosperity. A man is someone that has disarmed all of his triggers. A man is someone that can cultivate deep, intimate relationships and not get triggered in front of those that he loves most. The man is someone that faces all of his stuck patterns and taps into that innocence and that purity and that playful spirit of that little boy inside of him. A man is somebody that claims his boundaries, reclaims his self-respect, claims his power, knows who he is. A man is someone that could be decisive, disciplined, focused, direct, present. A man is somebody that can face his fears and not let them stop him, no excuses. A man is somebody that is ready to live from his soul and less from his personality, less from his identity, less from his hurts and his wounds, and show the real version of who he is to the world. A man is somebody that uses his past as a source of wisdom and powerfully claims his future. A man is somebody that is dialed into his intuition. He trusts in his internal guidance. He trusts in his intuition, and he won't betray himself or violate himself or allow himself to be swayed by outside opinions. A man is somebody that has fostered a deeper relationship with a power greater than himself. Perhaps for you, that's God. A man is somebody that has accepted the incarnated rite of passage to live into the fullness of who God made him to be, who's willing to hear the whispers of his creator as to who you are and why you were born, and then have the courage to go live that mission and give those gifts to the world. A man is somebody that recognizes he is not separate from anything or anyone. This is what a man is. And this is what's needed right now on this planet. There is a deep cry for masculine leadership. There is a deep cry and need and longing for men to come back into their hearts, for men to be able to feel again, for men to be in their power again, rooted and grounded and sturdy and steady like a mighty oak tree, living from the heart, living centered, living intuitively dialed in, and living with a relationship to something greater than themselves. This is what's needed today. The feminine is crying out to the masculine. The feminine has lost their way. Women need a greater level of safety. Women need men to rise. Children need men to rise. The world and humanity needs men to come back into congruence, back into alignment, back into the fullness, back into the wholeness of who we always were. The journey that's in front of us is to return to who we always were. None of us are broken. None of us need to be fixed. None of us deep down are unworthy or unlovable. Well, we might be wearing a mask, or we might be under the illusion that this is how we feel. But deep down, all of you are phenomenal. Deep down, all of you are amazing. Deep down, all of you are extraordinary. And everything else is a lie. Everything else is an illusion. Everything else is a forgetting. And this is what we do for each other. We wake each other up. We wake each other up to the remembrance of who we are and why we're here. We are masculine leaders. We are here to change the world. We are here to help others remember who they are. We are here to return to love. We are here to lift this planet, to lift its frequency, to lift its vibration, to stop war, to stop rape, to stop all the chaos and the dis-ease that exists on our planet. And we, as masculine leaders, heart-centered, embodied masculine leaders, have the capacity to do this. This is a call to all the men out there to get on board, to remember who you are. Get inside of peer groups that will shake you and wake you and remind you of the bigness of who you are. Change who you're hanging out with if it's not uplifting you, if it's not reminding you of exactly who you are and why you were born and why you're here. So my question for you is, what is a man today? What were the patterns that were handed to you? What were the stories that were handed to you that no longer serve? What was the roadmap that was given to you that you can see only leads to a dead end? What is a man today? That's a question for all of us to answer. So much love, guys. If you like what you're seeing and hearing, then hit that like button and subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you'll know the next episode has dropped.